About 71% of the Earth's surface is water covered, and the oceans hold about 96.5% of all Earth's water. The human body is made up of between 50 and 75% of water. This is Living in Liquid, and I'm Jamie Mitchell.
And we are live with the ball Maniac, Clarke-Jones, and
hello,
the
how are you?
first ever. We went a roundabout way about doing it. We had you and Barton at my house, and we did it. Sort of didn't work out because of the sound and everything, but this is actually the official first ever episode of the new Living in Liquid podcast, and I'm stoked to have my man Clarke-Jones be the first one here. So, welcome, mate.
Thank you. From Phillip Island.
Yeah.
To another island in Hawaii.
What's the weather like over there? I saw Ella was all rugged up. It's still a little chilly.
Yeah, no, it was a beautiful morning, and then it just, 4 seasons like Melbourne has, always. We got rain coming, we got storm coming, a southwesterly big swell coming in tomorrow. Well, a big for here, probably 10 feet. Probably out of control storm, so hopefully it'll get out there somewhere.
I mean, we're going to have a whole new audience with Living in Liquid. It's not the Big Wave podcast. I really want to get some interesting people here that have lived their life in and around the water, from cave divers in the ice to abalone divers to deep sea fishermen, fish Olympic swimmers. They're the types of people I'm hoping to get on the podcast. So it's going to be super cool to not just have sort of the big wave community just watching it, So let's take it back, Ross. Let's take it back to the start. I mean, I think one of the craziest things is your birth date,
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit. Tell us a little bit about that.
I had this haunting me my whole life, calling me the devil. But I was like, I was born on the 6th of the 6th, 1966. And I don't know. It's just, apparently it's an angel number. But it's a lucky number. Everyone tell my birth date. It's just repetitive going, oh my God, that's a great birthday. But yeah, it's pretty cool. I don't mind it.
Yeah. Was it from the date, your parents? Did anyone really when did it catch on? When did that whole thing catch on that was it because you sort of were a little bit crazy and people relayed it together, or was it just how did that work out?
Yeah, I think it was the time from kindergarten. I came on the first day at kindergarten going, wow, you were born on the 6th of the 6th, 66. I was like, does that mean anything? But the kindergarten teacher was looking at me kind of weird. Yeah. And I kind of got traumatized by that. And I go, oh, you know what? I don't want to stay. They used to make me try and put me to sleep, which I couldn't do. I was like, nah, I'm not sleeping here. And in kindergarten, it's kind of weird. Anyway, so I'm like, I'm out. Pick me up. Get my mother to pick me up. I'm not sleeping. So
and you still don't sleep to this day, right? We've had conversations. You have
I have severe sleep apnea. I'm meant to use this mask and everything. I'm actually getting quite good sleeps. Why I sleep very well? I sleep very well in the jungle for some reason. I don't know why. It was maybe my heritage. I used to sleep in Brazil in the jungle very well. You know why I sleep pretty good? It's sleep apnea is a huge problem with people don't even know they have it. I've known I've had it for a while. And when I lose a bit of weight, it definitely helps. But my throat is so small. It's a birth defect, whatever, but it's, they can't get enough air. So I meant to wear this mask, but I haven't been. But you know what? It's kind of, it's training in my sleep for breath work, Holding my breath is the doctor said, look, it's actually not a joke that you are holding your breath in your sleep and you're training for a hypoxia level. You're used to not having that much oxygen and holding your breath. So I was like, okay, that's kind of cool, but not. So I don't do breath work. I don't need to.
Only Clarke-Jones can do his training in his sleep.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not a joke, but I mean, it kind of is. But, you know,
Have you tried the mouth tape?
I don't do shit. Like the nose thing, you get these little nose things. I mean, it's. I've had my uvula cauterized, my tonsils out, and try to open my airway a little bit more, and my septum straightened, and don't do shit. I still like most people's mouths are like their windpipe or the opening to their mouth is it's quite large, you know. That's where you can get the air in. But I'm fine. I'll just take care of it.
So
Yeah,
take us back to like your first memories of the ocean growing up, and was it through your parents, and was it Terrigal where you grew up, Central Coast?
it was actually Balmoral, and we used to live in Mossman in Sydney. And my father, earliest memories I can think of was my father used to rip me out of bed, um, about 3 years old or 4 years old, and take me to Balmoral bars. I'd wake up, he's just throwing me in the water, like literally. I was like, "What are you doing?" You know, because I wouldn't wake up, and he put me in the back of the car and he'd throw me in the water, and I'd wake up. And I mean, it's the best every day, actually, every day. And then we started to go to Manly. We go to Manly Beach. Um, yeah, I'd wake up before then, and he'd throw me in the surf. We had the foam board. My brother and I used to share Kentucky Fried Chicken foam boards. You know, it was a prize in Kentucky Fried Chicken, I think.
For him to pick you up and take you to the ocean, like was he a surfer himself?
No, he's not a surfer, but he always used to swim. He was a doctor. He became a dermatologist. But when he was studying medicine, he used to go to Torquay for a swim every morning. Um,
Wow.
yeah, so he just continued, you know, he just did a couple of strokes every morning and just to wake up. And I
And then
think,
how did how did it progress from getting thrown into the water at a young age to you and your brother surfing? What was that progression like?
yeah, no, so it was like 11 years old. We went from Mossman to Central Coast at 10 years old, and then um, grew up in Terrigal, surfing Terrigal, learning to stand up. It was the first time I stood up was in Terrigal Beach. And then by 12 years old, there was a point called the Haven out the back. And I was like, I wanted to go out there. It was like kind of big. It was 8 feet. And I'm like 12 years old going, yeah, I want to go out there. My mother used to take me to the beach and sit in the car reading a book and go, don't you go out there? She couldn't see. So I just paddle out the back. By 13 years old, I was like, this is my calling. I was on a 5'4" board, and I remember going, this is so good. I was so confident in big waves then from 13.
And do you
Um,
think that, like, when I walk around the neighborhood here at sunset, I see certain kids, I'm like, that kid's got it. I see him on his bike doing a wheelie, he's on his skateboard, like hitting the lips
yeah,
of the gutter. There's those kids that everything you see him doing them, they're like, that kid's next level. Was that
yeah,
you as well off land and then you just took that into the water?
yeah. I think you're born with the maniac inside you. You know what I mean? I really do. You can, like, people that try to do it and persevere, but then they haven't really got it in their heart. They can do it. A lot of good surfers can do it, but they haven't got it right installed from a young age. I think, yeah, you're really born with that stuff.
Yeah, it
For,
really resonates
yeah,
with
it
me
was,
because
sorry. Yeah. It was from motorbike, skateboards, and I was driving and at like 10 years old, you know, a Mole Morris Minor and stuff like that. Yeah. Yeah, I think the majority of people run or hide in these situations. And like yourself and many others, that the maniacs go for it and we're attracted to it. It's like as soon as a storm hits and hail, I want to get outside instead of just hiding, you know? Yeah,
yeah,
it's a
some
DNA
run
thing
away
for
and some
sure.
run. You're starting to work out that that's what you love, surfing, the big waves. And, you know, the Central Coast is the melting pot for amazing surfers. There's Mark Sainsbury and, you know, you guys must have had a lot of like young kids growing up that were just pushing that level.
Yeah.
What was that like growing up in the Central Coast?
Yeah, the Central Coast guys were like hardcore, working class, and it was just, you couldn't get out of line. You couldn't have that tall poppy thing, like you. So there's a reason I didn't stretch, because the guys would have laughed at me going, "You're a fucking idiot. Why are you stretching?" So we'd have to go out cold, and we used to have fires on the beach, and my older mates used to drive me around to Foresters Beach and Copacabana. It was like a succession of points and reefs, and just keeps going. The southerly swells get more into the Central Coast than anywhere else on the East Coast, and it was more power than anywhere. Yeah, it was good preparation for Hawaii, and and the other breaks anywhere else in the world, really.
What was the progression like to get where you are today? Like, what was the progression?
It was a junior contest called Moving on 80. It was like a a chocolate milk flavored milk drink called Move. You remember that? I don't know. You probably remember it.
Yeah, I do.
It was Moving on 80. Aki was in there. Sanger. I was we were pretty young, 13 maybe. Yeah, I don't know. I was pretty young, but and I went to schoolboys contests, and then gradually there was an amateur contest. Went to the state level, to Australian level, and then the world titles. In 1986, that was the year it turned professional. After the world titles, I got third. Sanger got first. And then we went to Hawaii and the Billabong Pro. I got straight into Sunset for the first few rounds, and then Waimea for the quarterfinals. And then back to Sunset. And I did well in Waimea, the first, or those two heats, which kind of cemented me. And I felt like, wow, this is real. This is a big wave surfing at Waimea Bay. This is, and I felt really comfortable there with Mark Richards, and it was Martin Potter, Gary Elkerton, and it was the gateway for me, for sure. And just getting accepted with the Black Shorts, and Mickey Nelson took me under his wing, and Marvin Foster, and accepted me, and I felt really welcome from that first time, and you need that for Hawaii. I think you need to feel safe, or somewhat safe, especially with the locals, and it was nice feeling. I felt like it's a second home since 1986. Really, probably actually
So
more. I spent more there than anywhere, than even in Australia. So
yeah. What going through those schoolboy years with Sanger and everyone, like going to school, like what was the thought process? Like, did you like school? Like, was it just like, the surfing thing's going to be for me, that's what I'm focused on? Like, where was the mindset? And then your parents as well, like what were their thoughts of this whole thing going on?
Yeah, no, my parents were really cool. They're really accepting of what I was doing, because my brother was like the guinea pig. Your older brother usually gets the pace, and if they fail with them, he is the guinea pig. He went to private school, so I didn't go. I enjoyed my school life. I really enjoyed it. I went to Terrigal High. It was really cool, really good teachers, and they're really accepting of surfing. By year 11, I started to get bored, and I wanted to go surfing and go to Queensland. That's when I left. Went to Palm Beach Currumbin High School just for the last 4 months of the year in my year 11 year, and try to complete that year, where it was a disaster. I just had a motorbike, and I was rented a house by myself. I was actually up there alone, and I was 16 years old and having a ball, and then I came back and did year 11 and 12 again back in Terrigal High School. So I didn't leave high school till 19 years old, and then went straight on the tour. I actually moved up there because I was late for my heat in the Newcastle Schoolboys. So I thought, hang on, if I move up there, I can go on the Gold Coast Schoolboys, which I did, and I won the Gold Coast Schoolboys, and that's where I got my nickname Dark Bones from Bruce Lee. He put it in the local newspaper, Ross Dark Bones, just because he reckoned I didn't even go to school up there and everything, but I did. So I was legitimate, and he didn't like me at the start, but we're good friends now. And then I met Sean Riley and Kevin Sharman Snail, and then Sean Riley moved into my flat, and he's going, "Oh yeah, this Rab guy's coming around." I went, "Oh, who's that? Rab? Who's Rab?" And it was Rabbit Bartholomew. I was like, "Fuck off!" But I was, trying to play cool, and he just said, "Hey man, he's like David Bowie and shit." And he was really cool. And I went surfing with him, and I was quietly so stoked. I was like, Jesus, it's bigger, larger than life. And he had his RX-7, and that was like a sports car back then. It was like a rad sports car. And I'm picking him up in Bombay Rock after the nightclub, and I drove his car home, and and I put him into my spare bed, and I carried him up the stair. He was fucking blind. And then I went fucking ratting around in his car. It's in his book. I told him. And then Sean Riley he's really cool. He became a great mate. And then goes, "Yeah, Kong's coming around tomorrow." I'm like, "No way." Kong was my hero. I'm like, fuck. I'm going, "No." I didn't say anything. "Oh yeah, cool. Yeah." And then Kong bangs on the door, and he's like, "Rah!" He just came in like this full energy. I'm going, "Oh, fuck me." And that was, like, this is what I want to do. I modeled my sort of like career off these guys. I go, well, it's like, he's too cool. I'm never going to be world champion, but, this energy was so cool. And then Kong was just too much. I'm like, fuck, I don't want to be like him, but I want to be his energy, but, a bit more refined than him, and somewhere between Rabbit and Kong, if you know what I mean. And then Chappie as well, that whole Quiksilver crew. He got me my sponsorship from Quiksilver. And that's where my career really started for the surfing career. And that's what I wanted to do. I remember going to see Bryce Ellis, and he was talking about going surfing with Rabbit and Kong and all this stuff. And now I actually was meeting these guys and living with them, and that was a good start. And then, and Quiksilver, and we did the Mad Wax thing. It was a surfing movie with Tom Carroll and Gary Elgerton, and like, oh my God, this is not happening. And it was where I met Tom Carroll, and he became a really good friend too. 1986 was a massive year for me. 20 years old. Mark Sainsbury was the world champion, like world amateur champion. I was got third. So they never invited me. And then Marvin Foster and Nichols, all these, Tom Carroll, everyone was invited except to me, for me to go filming it in Avalon. And Peter Wilson said, "Hey, they're filming down in Avalon, Ross, just go for it. Just go there and surf for the cameras, They can't stop you surfing now." I'm like, "Okay, I'll do that." So I did that, and I was saying, I went with saying, he goes, "What are you doing here?" I was like, "I don't know, just going surfing. Fuck you." And then, and it was Elko, me, and Sango and Tom, and I got some good waves, and they were filming me, because I had a Quiksilver sticker on my board, and they're going, "Who's this guy?" And they're going, "Do you want?" Then they invited me to come to Longreef, just down the road the next day. The waves were like this big. But then I got this really cool cutback in slow motion, on my back end. And they were going, "Man, let's include this guy somehow, So then we went to Black Rock, which is the Australian pipe. And I surfed literally 6 hours straight. Didn't come in. I was just want to get into this film, And Sanger was kind of a bit blasé, and, he's like, "Oh, I'm world champion. I don't fucking care." And he got a couple of waves and came in. I just surfed all day and got these really good little barrels. And then Elko was there, and he didn't give a shit either. And then Bruce Raymer's going, "Man, you got better waves than anyone in this film. We're going to make you the whiz. We're going to make you the star." And I was like, "Fuck yeah." And then I got written into the story when, I had my dream girl was Sandy Johnson, and Aikau was meant to be, he's like arrogant, sort of fucking on the man, and he was set to he was his girl, but then I walked off in the sunset with her, right? And they changed the whole fucking script, and so I didn't get the girl in the end, and I got fucking smoked, and they stopped filming, and then they're like, there's no more Mad Wax. I was gutted. I was so gutted. I was crying actually inside, like away from everybody. Go, fuck, this is my chance. I was going to be a star. And then all of a sudden they changed the script, changed the film, and they released it anyway. But still, there was the ending was way better. I get the girl and end up walking into the sunset. I don't know why they changed it. Okay, I couldn't handle it. But anyway, it was a really good part of my life. No, many times it's like, fuck, it's gonna be happening. This is all happening. And then it's a disaster. I lose or I get third, and then something else comes from it. Like the disaster always turns into a treasure for me for some reason. There's so many things. I get the wipeout. I wipe out and it's end up wipe out of the year or something, you know what I mean? Like, I just did Nazareth. Let's fast forward to Nazareth 2018. I've got these massive waves, biggest waves of my life probably. But then I end up getting smashed on the rocks, and that got more press than anything. That went viral and got crazy. Like, what is this guy doing? He's crazy. He's like getting on the rocks and he's laughing at it. But those sort of things, yeah, like you're saying, it just turns out. It always turns out in the end. They go, look, Sanga's a competition server. Ross has got the Mad Wax image thing going. Let's put both of them on the tour. So that we got equal pay and got on the tour from 1986 to 87. And we're going on the full tour the next year. We just partied the whole time. The first year we were almost making the top 30, but we're like back then it was the top 30 or top 34 or top 32 or something. And we were just out and we were 33 and 34 for 2 years in a row. Pete Wilson's like, hey, he put the foot down, said, hey, Ross, Sanger, you guys need to stop partying, get with it or get out. And I'm like, yeah, Pete, I'll promise I will stop partying. My Brazilian wife that came with me, Cassia, and I'm going, look, I'm settling down. I'm going to get away from Sanger. Sanger goes, fuck you. I do what I want. And it really cost him. I mean, I respect him for that. It wasn't playing the game. I was playing the game. I sucked up the fuck. At least I kept my sponsorship for almost 40 years. But Sanger got brushed and they went, no, you're out. It's a lesson for kids, really. You need to play the game a bit. You know what I mean? You can still have your fun, but just keep it down the down low. But we were just getting busted left, right, and center. People are just going out. Like if you do well, they don't care. But if you fuck up, they're going to blame that. Sometimes do really well. We did really well. Sometimes just out, vomiting, like after every wave. And then it was a rout. It was like, fuck, all night. 2 nights in a row. Rock out for me with Kaipo Hakias. I get my first 10. I was like, and one day I got 2 10s or something. I was like, there you go. I mean, oh, Ross, you did really well, but you didn't know I've been up for 2 days. So, that sort of thing, you can't do that now. Yeah, it does catch up. I mean, you can't do that all the time. I mean, we're in Brazil. We're like, same thing, like I was in a heat with Hans Hedemann. We were all sick, actually, like literally food poisoning and staying up all night, partying. It was having fun, like those nightclubs in Florianopolis, and it was mental. But then I was gagging and vomiting every wave. I had a heat with Hans Hedemann. I beat him. I was like, I couldn't believe it. But and then Sanganelli won the contest. I think he did win the contest. Oh no, he got second at Tom. Tom Carroll, you know. Yeah, it was one of those things. It's you can't do that. I'm sure they don't do that anymore.
Yeah, and you're not privy to inside information at that anyway. All you're seeing as a fan is the posters, the girls, the checks, and you're just like, oh wow, these guys, this is awesome,
Yeah.
But yeah, it's
Back
just
then.
a different life, different world back then, and
Can
so
you
like
hear?
last tour for like 13 years, 10 years, and you started to lose the passion for the small, like you were surfing so many small waves, and then tell us that transition. Like, hey, you can just surf big waves if you like. Like, how was that from getting from the tour to like understanding that you really want to surf big waves, and that's the path that you took?
Billabong Pro 89. I got second to Shane Moran and made the top 30. Right, so I'm in the top 30. Otherwise, I was out. Apparently, I was going to be axed from Quiksilver. If I didn't make top 30, I'm out. So when I made it, we got to 27 or something. I was or 24. Ended up 24. Got in the 30, and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to be focused on the next year. I lost 8 heats in a row, like first heat, like when you're seated, it was brutal. And I was just like, when it just snowballs, like now you're just like, oh, after 3 or 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, I'm like, oh my God. And I'm doing the right thing. It's like, why am I doing the right thing? It's not working for me. So, yeah, anyway, I kept getting different results, getting dribs and drabs of good results, but nothing consistent. And then it was the last year on tour that I was on tour, I didn't get a wave over a foot, like in the heats. It was like every heat was a foot, 1 foot. But my best result was beating Rob Machado in 1 foot lefts in Rio. It was the last year on the tour. Tom was over it. I had a heat with Tom Carroll in Rio, and he said, "Look, I want to go home. If I don't lose this heat, I have to stay for another week." So we just rigged the heat, and he still nearly beat me. I was fucking going, "What are you doing? Dropping on me or something?" And anyway, so then I got to Rob Machado, and that was my most rewarding feat, was surfing against Rob Machado on a 1 foot left, and I beat him. I was like, wow. Yeah. Anyway, so Quiksilver said, "Look, get off the tour, mate. You don't even need to do it." But I just kept thinking I wanted to, the competitive thing. I wanted to get into top 16 or win an event or something. I was so close, got seconds and thirds, but never won. Then I was like, give me another year. And then Quicksilver was like, "Look, fuck." In 96, 97, he goes, "Look, Ross, don't need to compete. We'll still pay you. Just go and surf some big waves. Try and get the biggest fuck off wave we can get. Please. Just go." And then we were toe surfing, with Tony Ray, and by then, and he's like, "Look, just go do your thing. Just go surfing." And I was grateful for that. And then Red Bull came in 99, 2000, and then just sort of give me another injection of confidence to just go surfing and, just do some crazy waves. And then we did the world's first tow-in contest in King Island. That was when it was actually a failed event. There was no wave. It was the first one ever, but didn't happen. The career lasted 2018 with sponsorship from Red Bull and Quiksilver. And then I went on a reality show and snapped my leg, and that went down.
Well, I want to dive into the big wave stuff, because it was just like full throttle. Here's Ross surfing 2 foot Hossiger, and then now Ross is around the world chasing every single wave he can. You start seeing it at Jaws and Mavericks, and then you towing in at Shippies and just everywhere. And again, right, you are at the forefront. You just get that support as toe surfing and big wave surfing takes an explosion for the for the better.
Yeah. No, that's another transition. I went into filmmaking with Justin McMillan and Chris Neelius. We did a series of films from Storm Servers for actually my Sixth Element film, 2004. Dennis Hopper narrated it, and he did it. It was Justin and Chris were the first. That was the first film we did together, and then that continued on to 2013 with Storm Surfers series, and then the Storm Surfers 3D, and that brought big wave surfing to the mainstream a bit. It was more not just a surfing film; it was more for the mums and dads and people related to that. Like, we worked out that we got these shit waves, it was all stormy, and I was like, oh, we've just blown it. So surfers looked at it going, oh, this is shit. But then all the lawyers in London and all these bankers are going, this is amazing. Like, this whole mainstream thing, it was more dangerous to see these shit waves. And so you can't please everyone. It's really hard to please. Like, if you have a perfect wave, like, these other people just don't get it. It doesn't look dangerous. It's all beautiful. Makes it look easy, And so we worked out that was a little formula for us to hit the mainstream, which is a bigger audience anyway, which worked very well for a while. And then everyone's, life changes, like the internet, the concentration level of people now, like, it's all Instagrams, 5 seconds, 10 seconds. It was all clips, and no one's got time to sit down for a movie anymore, unless it's on Netflix, you know what I mean? So that's changed too. But it was fun doing all those documentaries. Really good.
What was your favorite? I mean, what was your favorite part of that whole? You're younger, you've got the budget, you've got jet skis everywhere. I relate it when I tell people sometimes I feel like you feel like James Bond 007, right? You see a swell, you're like passports and visas, and you're calling up your guys here and there, and you're organizing this stuff and cars, and it's just like the surfing's the easy part. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
like, what was driving you, and what was the fun part? Was it like just being able to go across the world wherever you wanted to go and chase those waves?
For me, it was when we started, like, when we were doing, it was more of an adventure. Like, when Tony and I really got our jet ski, and there was no one else. And then we started to build, we brought a camera guy and a film guy, just a photo guy. Just one, we just went on the ski to Shipstone together. It was just Zaz, it was a photographer, Tony and myself, and the three of us went out. He dropped him in the water, and that was such an adventure. And we got these photos. We're going, oh my God, we got gold here. No one's towed it before. It was literally, it didn't look that big when we got there. It was 6 feet, but then you get the photos, looking at it, it's like 10-foot monster. You know what I mean? That was when we really got keen and got, and then went back for another guy with a film guy, a videographer, and then it was just building. And then we started getting boats, and it grew from there. And that was still fun. That was like the James Bond thing we had. Then we started getting helicopters, and like, wow, this is getting this is a big business now, but I miss those days of the more adventure ones, like it was just the three of us, or that was like walking on the moon back then, like there was no one.
A new way, you don't know if it's going to break. You've looked at it, you've seen swell, and you turn up and you get skunked, and you go back again, and then all of a sudden you get it, and you're like, oh my God, like, no one's ever surfed this. Or
there's not many places in the world now. I've still got a couple here in Australia that we go to and we surf alone or tow alone, but we don't video it or film it for that reason, because it gets exposed and people, like, you can't, everywhere's so crowded now. Even the big wave spots, like, it's just a circus. And I'm not really keen on that anymore. It's just like Hawaii is one thing and it's amazing, but you know, like all these other spots just get so crowded. And yeah, I just can't do that anymore. So I think like it's competing for a wave, you know.
Yeah.
And like I look at Mavericks and even Nazare, and it's just like it's too hard now. You know, Waimea
Yeah.
is like it doesn't matter. You can drop in, you can just get party wave. You know, Waimea is the one place I still really love to go. Yeah.
What about for the people listening that haven't really seen or heard much about big waves? Let's take us through some of your. I got a couple of gnarly moments that I know you've been through. It's first one will be 98 Hawaii, biggest Wednesday. You and Tony Ray, like, take us through that experience, what went down that day.
Just going back from that, that's one experience. But going back, the first time I actually felt like I nearly drowned was in the first trip to Mentawai Islands with Martin Potter, Harold, and a bunch of Newport mates. And on Martin Daly's first boat, it's called the Volcanic. And it was just this little boat. It wasn't very big. And that was a full-on adventure. We set sail. It was like 10 days of just amazing waves. And we get to name the break. There was no one surfed it. Apparently there was no one surfed all these waves in the Mentawais. And we named them all and they got rechanged. The names got changed. But some of them stuck. Burger World, I named. It stuck. Iceland, I named. That stuck. Macaronis and slingshots. So we changed the name there. Yeah, but the one I called laxatives because everyone shit themselves, literally. This place, and I got fucking hammered. It was a full chopu under the thing, 15 foot. Tom and Potts were paddling over the wave, and I'm just looking up going, fuck me. That's the closest I've come to drowning. Lip hit me in the head, down. I couldn't get up breath, another lip in the second, third wave. And that's when I was like, wow, that was the closest I've ever come to drowning by far. So that was 2000. That was 1991. And and then fast forward back to 98. I went to 98. That's the one you want to talk about. And that's the biggest waves I've ever seen, by far. That stage, it was the buoys were 27 feet at 25 seconds or something.
Crazy.
And that relates to 45 feet, like legitimate 90 or something.
Yeah. So for anyone that's listening, we have these swell height buoys, and all the forecasters the swell will go past and it'll hit these buoys, and 27 feet is the swell height, and then you have the interval, which is 20 seconds. It's the time between the swells, and if you have anything that's even close to 20-second intervals, that means there's so much energy in the ocean. And then if you have anything in the 20s, like 20 foot of swell height, and then 20 seconds, it's eddy swell size, that basically. But this was too big for the eddy. This was giant.
Yeah, it was 27 feet at 25 seconds was one reading, which calculates into a 47 foot wave, which they double it now, which is 95 feet. That was the biggest recording I've ever seen. And that was the biggest waves I've ever seen at that stage. They called the eddy off. That was January 28, 1998. And that was, the top bottom close. Condition black. We weren't allowed out there. We went out with Ken Bradshaw, and they were filming the Extreme IMAX movie. Me and Tony got out there so quick. We're out there. I got 4 waves really quick. I got 4. On the 4th one, Tony's like, swap. I'm like, fuck, just one more. And he just drove me into this closeout. I'm going, no, stop. What are you doing? And the thing was just walling up forever. And he just kept, it was like a jet ski that had one cylinder. And I think the cap off the spark plug was off. So it was just missing and it wasn't going very fast. And I'm going, no. I was overtaking him on the jet ski. I was surfing. He was on the jet ski. And I just saw him get the lip on the back of the jet ski and exploded. Both of us exploded. But I kept riding, came like 100 meters in front of him. And then I looked back and there was jet ski everywhere. And Tony was just like, he was in shock. 3 hours we drifted down to almost down past Waimea, almost to Alligators, down to Haleiwa that way. We were just on the end of jet ski. It was heavy. And we are going, fuck. It was legitimate 45-foot lefts. I'm going, what do we do? We have to swim. How do we swim in this stuff? This is heavy. Should we just go out and hopefully someone will pick us up? Anyway, Noah Johnson came and found us. Noah went back and got Sean Riley and Kavika Stant, 2 big guys. And they go, we're going to tow you in. I'm like, fuck, really? They towed us into Haleiwa. So there's 3, like Kavika Stant, he's a big boy.
Huge.
Sean Riley's not pretty big guy. And then Tony's and the stick on the end. There's 3 of them, and me on the going down with the ship, going like in a half sunken jet ski, towing us through Haleiwa Harbour, which was closing out. Sean just goes, leave the ski, mate. I'm like, nah, I'm going down with the shit. This is our baby. I'm not leaving it. Just cut me loose if you're going to do that. I'm going to get this thing to shore. And we did. We putted all the way just in between the sets. Don't know how we made it. Got to the Haleiwa Harbour. Cops were there going, fuck, you guys are going to be arrested. And I went, nah, we're trying to save people up there. You know, we're like, no, we legally went out from someone's house, which was the condition black. If you launch from someone's home, it's okay, but not from the harbours. And then Briley's going, man, there's people out there. We've got to save them. And he just took off. And yeah, that was one of those days. It was, man.
That's nuts, man.
One,
The other wipeout that makes me cringe is the one. Yeah. That's that looks horrific.
That was a full adventure with the Tassie guys, you know, the Tassie locals. That we went out there with them. Was 60 Minutes was doing Australian 60 Minutes. We're doing a piece on it, and you know, I'm getting Tom all these awesome ways, and Tom was getting me shit. I'm going, man, fuck, give me a good wave. So Justin McMillan, like the director of the films, he said, no, I'll get you some. Because he was getting shits too. I wasn't getting any waves. Tom's going, yeah, I'm done. Like he's had his way. He does this all the time. And then Justin just drove me into like 4 bombs in a row. I was like, just one more. Yeah, you know, the dreaded one more. And this thing just was a full set. And it went over me. Like I was trying to pull in and then it sort of mushed out. I'm like, oh, no, it's not going to barrel. So I sort of straightened out and then it started to barrel over the top of me. I've never seen a wave do that. Roof. And I was like, what the fuck? So I jumped back, just avoided the lip, and then it just exploded on my neck. And I felt my neck tweak. It felt like my head rotated around my neck. It was fucked up. I was blood coming out of my nose, the ears, eyes were just like, boing. And I was due to go into neck surgery the next day. Anyway, from a wipeout at Mavericks that year we were together. Remember that one I got snapped and anyway, that was so the neck surgery was booked in and the surgeon said, whatever you do, don't traumatize the area. And my mom was like this. I was so tweaked. And that was the heaviest wipeout I've ever had, I think. And then they did surgery the next day and they drilled out the nerve root. And anyway, I came back from that. Got best wipeout of the year.
So let's
Yeah.
transition from like the negative stuff of nearly dying and drowning. What
Yeah.
are the most memorable rides? You know, when you look back at it and you go through all your insane memory bank of like killer waves that you've had around the world, like what are some of the ones that stand out to you?
Oh, they just, I mean, there's so many, like just first one in Nazaré, went out there first, 2014. It was so perfect. It was massive, and rented a ski and a driver, and Tyler Laron, what's his name? Tyler Laron's dad.
Yeah, Michelle.
Michelle Laron. Yeah, he came from Hawaii, or he was in France, and he drove me into this thing. There was no one out there, and just whipped me into this massive peak. And I had just a Morris Cole 510, no weight, but it was perfect. And I just did this full arc and went, wow. It was just like, it was full snowboarding and mint conditions. And that was my introduction to Nazaré. And then the thing just, I went right. I said, whatever you do, don't go right. So I went right. And then I just made it just around the white water, and I ended up in this channel going, oh, thank fuck. And then Antonio Silva got the second or third one and just got mowed into the rocks and broke his legs. And so that was my one wave. That was it. And then the jet ski broke down. Michelle's like, fuck, this ski's fucked. And that was the one wave anyway. That was one memorable one. Another one, the Eddie Aikau, there's like this wave. Actually, it was the Billabong Pro, the first wave I caught on a 710. And that was 20, 25 feet, probably 22 feet, but just so perfect. You know, I was 20 years old, I just paddled into this thing. I was like, wow, this is like Terrigal Haven, but on steroids. And then there's waves of Pipeline when I'm in the final of the Pipeline Masters. It wasn't that big, but I was just getting barreled there. And I don't know, there's so many good waves I can remember. You know, the one in Nazaré, the 2018, I got a big peak with Benjamin Sanchez towed me in, and Maya split the peak. And I went right in front of the castle, and that was because he just got me onto it, so I actually got the drop as well instead of towing so fast. So I sort of just got onto it, and then actually got the drop when you usually paddle, you get the drop as well. You usually miss that toe surfing. Yeah. What else? Mavericks. I remember fucking getting mowed at Mavericks. Wow. I mean, yeah, it's one of the worst places getting mowed because it's so cold.
Speaking of that, like you know, like when I hear about all these spots, you know, like we get to go to these incredible places with the water, right? Living in liquid, like you know, you're nearly you coming up to 60, I think now, and like we go to all these amazing places. Like most of our big wave spots have these beautiful harbors, right? Like that we all go out with. They're all so different, you know. Nazaré is different to Mavericks, and Mavericks is different to Hawaii. And what is what is it about the water for you that like just has like drawn you to the ocean and made it like basically your life, you know, like your medicine, you know, like
It's you know what? It's not just water. I thought it was just water. I used to go to Germany for my time off and race cars around the Nürburgring. I had a car there, and that was the best buzz in the world. But it's a landlocked place, Germany, right? And I'm going, fuck, I need some water. So I try to find lakes, you know, which was cool, but it still wasn't that satisfying. It wasn't salt water. You need salt water. And it's something to do with it, scientifically proven with the positive ions or something like that. And it really does affect your mood and your well-being. Like, I don't need surf, but I need salt water. I really, yeah. So that was like, I went to Italy, this year, and it was hot, and I was just like, I just need to go swimming. I was been, the airport. I got to this ocean. I was just like, wow, I was back. And then I was surfing small waves on a longboard, and that was fine. And I was happy.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if I keep surfing small waves, but it gets boring, and then I need that rush of that. And then when you get that big surf, it takes one wave, that a big ocean swell, like one wave can resonate for a year,
Yes. Sure.
or more. You can still talk about 98. Was it 30 years ago?
Yeah. Talking about 30 years ago, what about in 20 years? Like what's it look like for Ross Clarke-Jones in 20
20
years?
years.
I think the oldest surfer is like 80 years old from Japan. Some guy in Japan still surfing when he's 80.
Wow. I'd love to, but I mean, I could feel like it now. I'm nearly 60. I didn't think I'd be surfing till 60. Like most 60-year-olds don't surf, or do they? Like now they do. Like there's a lot of good, I think Ricardo Bacau was 68 and he was toe surfing. He was a Brazilian guy that toe surfed Nazaré last year. Or, I feel I can go for a long time now, but 20 years doesn't feel that long.
No, doesn't.
Really? I'm like, fuck, if I make to 80,
Yeah.
I don't know. You got to live every moment now, every day as it comes, take every day, like, and be grateful for it.
Yeah. Yeah. No
Yeah.
doubt.
You think of the future too much, you fucking do your head in.
So you mentioned growing up when you're in Terrigal, it wasn't very cool to train or stretch or do all that stuff. So how has that changed over the years as you've gotten older? Like what have you done to be able to keep yourself in the water and charge those big waves?
It was a time in my life I broke my back at Pipeline. It was 92, and that's where it changed for me. Like I'd never trained until then. It was just surfing, really. Snowboarding, surfing, or just football. It was nothing extra training. And then Chris Raymond said, "Look, man, I had a broken back." I said, "Man, if you don't train, you're fucked." So Rob Roland Smith took me on. He was a footy coach or a footy trainer for the Parramatta Eels or something. And he's went on to train a lot of people, Potts and Tom, and he's got a huge following in Sydney. And he trained me. He took me for 6 months, did weight training and biking and running and sand hills. Was a sandhill warrior. And so I came back. I was ripped, and I wish I could have photo of myself back then. And I was just like, I was so focused and on training, and that definitely changed me. I didn't continue, but it brought me back from an injury that was life changing, and it helped me. So I do more strength training now, and cardio, just a little bit of cardio, but the surfing and weight training to get strong around your neck and back, and legs, and that's what I really need. I'm not saying so agile or athletic like a small wave surfing, but I think for big wave surfing, you just need to be strong. You need to armor yourself with the neck muscles and legs. So to take a good beating like a football. Yeah.
So people out there listening will no doubt be wondering why you keep coming back and putting your body through this stress year after year. What is it that drives you to keep surfing big waves, and what keeps you motivated?
Yeah, I mean, like when you were younger, I used to get injured, and you come back from injuries, and I had sponsorship for my whole life, and they always supported me. But after the reality show I went on, and I broke my ankle, I lost some of my sponsorship, and it was a novelty at first, but then it got too long, and I fell into I was like clinically depressed because I couldn't surf, I couldn't do shit. I couldn't walk. And I was like, wow, this is heavy. And I'd never experienced that in my life. And I got professional help, and I didn't think, I don't need a psychologist. I don't need anything. But she taught me, said, look, the memory of what you've done is still there. And that's what will make you do it again. And that's what I was like, you know what? She's right. Just fucking get up off the couch, get ready, and start going back. It's just little steps. I just wanted to go straight back into where I was, after injury. But you can't do that. You got to have little steps to come back. And it resonated with me so strongly that, like, that memory is, you just remember that those waves are still there. So you want to keep doing it, and that's when you go back to it. It's on reload. You know what I mean? Like, you just think about how good was that? And like, I want to do it again. And if you physically can, you mentally will. And that's you've got to keep going, don't stop.
What do you think is your most memorable or meaningful moment that you've ever experienced in the ocean?
Oh, memorable. Oh, I don't know. There's so many, but I think competitively or career wise or meaningful, crucial was the Aikau when I won in 2001. And it was like, because I was trying to win this event and I knew I could do it. And in the end, I just gave up. I'm like, fuck it. I'll put too much pressure on it. And it was just a breeze when I was in the second heat or the first heat and I was winning by a mile, and I had 40 minutes by myself. Everyone had caught their waves or something. No, it was actually half an hour by myself pumping Waimea 25 feet, and everyone had to go in. And I was like, wow, this is not happening. It was full dream time stuff,
Yeah, meant to be.
I'm like, wow. And it was just like, it was so easy. And like, I've never been a very spiritual, religious person, but I felt something in that Waimea Bay Valley, that the valley was like lifting me. When I came I came in from my heat. I knew I'd won, but I didn't want to, I didn't want to get cocky or like, I'll never win. I never win. So I'm expecting disappointment anyway, but I'm not going to let that affect what I just experienced.
Yeah.
Who cares if you win the Eddie? I just experienced something that no one does, to be out there by myself. Yeah, I think that's the most memorable moment for sure. Half an hour of just in the candy store.
Is there a specific moment or like that you're still chasing or something that you'd still like to conquer, or you're happy with the way things?
I'd like to win another Eddie Aikau. I'd like that, because like the first one, it was just so surreal that I couldn't grasp the feeling. I couldn't. And then I got a second in 2016 when I dropped in on this. But you know what I mean? That felt like I was going to win that almost, and I was like, but then I would feel that, be more present or something.
Yeah.
But it's just being in the Eddie Aikau at all. It's just, it doesn't matter whether I got the worst result I've got ever, but it was still like a win.
Yeah.
The last 2 years, just being part of the event, it's amazing.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a great way to finish off on the Eddie. It's it is such a special, beautiful event, and obviously this year's ceremony with Clyde passing is going to be very special, and it's going to be amazing. So Ross, final question: what have you got going on? Is there anything you want to say, like promote, or what do you got going on?
My life is full right now, and it's one of the best times of my life. I'm feeling that I'm not chasing waves so much, but everything's coming to me. I'm planning to go to Hawaii. I'd like to go to Nazare again, but I'm not like just this full pressure on me to catch every swell. That's gone. And I've been learning the trades, almost all trades with in the building industry. I've been tiling, been a carpenter, I've been a roofer, I've been almost a plumber, electrician, and it's very rewarding. Just creating, I'm destroying stuff. I've been renovating, making a mess and then making it perfect. That's been very rewarding for me. And then we started a brand called Born Maniac, and the product line's expanding for us. And being on the other side of sponsorship and getting a team together like yourself, you know what I mean? And this Born Maniac thing, we got artists on board, DJs, filmmakers, and they're coming to us, and it's resonating with a lot of people, a lot of not just surfers, everyone's coming to me going, I want to be a Born Maniac. I'm a Born Maniac, which is really cool. Instead of trying to get them in and pay them, and they're coming towards us, and we'll make a community and hopefully a very successful company. Yeah, so that's been interesting.
And where can everyone find the Born Maniac? Is there a website where they can check?
Bornmaniac.com. And we just recently got our first account with Surf Lounge in France, and that's expanding. And this is really exciting. So yeah, we've got everything going.
Well, mate, it's been awesome to talk to you. Thank you so much. You know, personally, it's grow up watching you. You're a huge inspiration to be able to surf in the eddies with you and become friends, and it's been super cool. So thanks for being the first guest on the Living in Liquid podcast. And for all you listeners that are interested in what I've got going on, I've been working on a lot of mentoring style training websites up and running. We're still working through it, but if you want to learn more about that stuff, you can DM me on Instagram, or you can send an email to team@jamiemicho.com. And thank you all for your support, and stay tuned for the next episode. Thank you.
I can't think of anyone better to train with than you.
Born Maniac.
Yes. All right, brother.
All right.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
guys. Thanks for listening to Living in Liquid. I'm your host, Jamie Mitchell. This episode was produced by Stacey Piggott. Thank you to the Australian band The Drones for our epic intro music. Please don't forget to follow or subscribe. We'll see you next week.